The RAM crisis, driven by AI, unfortunately isn't showing any signs of slowing down, and there have been a lot of developments since the last time we spoke about this. In this video, I'm going to talk about exactly these developments, but let me warn you in advance, the situation is worse than we thought. So get your RAMs ready, because we'll jump right in. Before we get into the news, I need to make a couple of quick reminders. If you are completely unaware of the RAM crisis, I suggest you watch the first video. To save time, I won't re-explain how it started in this video because this is an update video. My other warning is about how abruptly the industry can make decisions. It is possible that after this video is published, manufacturers could take new radical steps that steer the market in a different direction. Therefore, the currency of the information I share might change over time. Now, let's start with developments from one of the main actors in AI, NVIDIA. 1. NVIDIA will not release a new GPU in 2026. Yes, you heard that right. The Information and several other news outlets have published various reports stating that no new GPUs for gamers will be released in 2026. Here's what this means for the end user. First of all, the super versions of the RTX 5070, 5070 Ti, and 5080, which users waiting to upgrade their builds were anticipating, have been cancelled or postponed indefinitely. The biggest reason for this, as you can guess, is the RAM crisis. These RTX 50 Super Series GPUs were going to feature an upgrade in VRAM capacity rather than raw performance, but NVIDIA preferred to direct GDDR7 memory towards AI instead of offering it to the gaming side. This decision led to the shelving of the RTX 50 Super Series. Speaking of the RTX 50 series, there are rumors circulating that production of the RTX 5070 Ti and RTX 5060 Ti 16GB models has been halted. Judging by the latest statements from NVIDIA and ASUS, this isn't the case for now. However, if a new and powerful wave of demand emerges on the AI side, the balance could shift again. As for current production models, a cut of approximately 40% is expected. This means there is a possibility of price increases or stock shortages for many NVIDIA GPU models. Along with this, manufacturers are expected to focus more on GPUs with 8GB of VRAM, such as the 5060 Ti, 5060, and 5050. We partially saw something similar with the RX 9060 XT 8GB model. The reason, as you might guess, is to reduce VRAM usage and costs. When it comes to the RTX 60 series, the picture is a bit clearer. Under normal circumstances, it was expected to launch towards the end of 2027. However, due to the VRAM crisis and GDDR7 memory being much more profitable in AI infrastructure, there is some speculation that the launch date was moved to 2028. However, I have some strange but arguably good news for you. The RTX 3060 is coming back. According to many sources, the 12GB version of the RTX 3060 may re-enter production, but it's not clear. The reason for this is actually quite simple. The drop in demand for GDDR6 memory has significantly lowered costs. Additionally, users interested in AI need high VRAM capacity, and the RTX 3060 12GB can still be an attractive option at this point. On the gaming side, there are more powerful and modern alternatives than the RTX 3060. Therefore, the success of this card will depend largely on its launch price. As a lower probability scenario, there is talk that the RTX 3060 could be revised and return with a super or a similar label. If such a move is made and even a small increase in performance is provided, it could become a great choice for budget builds. In summary, the RTX 50 Super Series has been shelved. The RTX 5070 Ti and RTX 5060 Ti 16GB models are continuing production for now. Current NVIDIA GPU production will drop by 40%. The RTX 60 series has been postponed, and the RTX 3060 12GB is expected to re-enter production. However, we must not forget, the demand for AI is still ramping up with no end in sight, which drives investments in this area even higher. Therefore, it's not just hardware using NAND and DRAM that is affected. Almost the entire industry is impacted by this shift, and everyone in the industry wants a piece of the pie. So let's take a look at new statements AMD has made in regards to CPUs. 2. AMD will focus on enterprise customers. According to recent statements, AMD plans to focus more on the enterprise market on the CPU side. The reason, as you can imagine, is to grab a larger share of the server and data center market. While announcing this move, AMD specifically emphasized that they are not completely abandoning the individual user side. However, due to the current crisis and increasing PC costs, they stated they would concentrate more on the high-end segment for consumers. From AMD's perspective, this decision seems quite logical. Today, AMD is one of the strongest brands regarding desktop processor performance. Its rival Intel has current processors that aren't always seen as the most logical option outside of certain specific use cases. Furthermore, the difficulties Intel is experiencing with its new manufacturing processes are a known fact. It seems AMD has utilized this gap quite well to invest in the AI side. At least that is my interpretation. You can share your thoughts in the comments. Speaking of AMD, let's briefly touch on their graphics cards. Since RX 9000 series GPUs use GDDR6 memory, they were less affected by price increases compared to models using GDDR7. However, recently, price hikes for RX 9000 series graphics cards have started to appear in some countries. This could evolve into a more serious issue in the future. So if you are planning to buy an AMD GPU soon, keep your eyes peeled for any price hikes. Now, let's leave the GPU and CPU side behind and look at the components most affected by the crisis. 3. SSD prices are rising. Since SSDs are made entirely of NAND memory, it was inevitable that they would be affected by this crisis. Especially SSD models containing DRAM had already started giving signals of price increases beforehand. And right now, it appears that SSD prices have more than doubled in some countries. This situation isn't just happening with M.2 SSDs, but also with SATA SSD models. So, should you build your PC entirely with an HDD? Absolutely not. Using an SSD with at least 120GB capacity for the operating system is almost a necessity today due to how slow HDDs make computers. Adding an HDD alongside an SSD to meet storage needs is logical, but I wouldn't recommend going all in on HDD for any type of use at all. There aren't many additional details I can give on this topic, but what I can give details on is another phenomenon caused by this development. 4. HDD prices have increased. HDDs do not contain NAND memory and are completely mechanical. For this reason, they are much slower compared to SSDs and are generally preferred only for storage purposes today. We can even say that they have become obsolete for many usage scenarios. So then, why have HDD prices started to rise in some countries? The keyword here is the need for storage. The significant rise in SSD prices has caused users to turn back to HDDs for storage. The increase in demand naturally created grounds for sellers to raise prices. Similarly, HDDs can still be used in some servers. Manufacturers and sellers wanting to take advantage of this opportunity have started raising HDD prices. This situation covers portable HDD models as well. In summary, both HDDs and SSDs have been affected by this crisis. In a situation like this, it would be too optimistic to think that the rise in RAM prices would stay limited to DDR5 RAMs, and it indeed did not. 5. DDR4 RAM prices have increased too. DDR5 RAM has been experiencing a serious price increase for the last few months. Although prices seem a bit more stable in recent weeks, the possibility of them rising again still exists. With the increase in DDR5 prices, users wanting to upgrade their setup or build a new PC started turning to DDR4. This choice actually makes a lot of sense. AMD's 5000 series X3D processors and Intel's 13th gen and later processors can still offer quite powerful and up-to-date performance. Combining this with the relatively affordable price of DDR4 makes it an attractive option for many users. This strategy worked for a while, but in recent days, DDR4 RAM prices have been going up as well. There are fundamentally two reasons for this. Products in stock are decreasing and demand is still high. This leads sellers to increase prices to raise their profit margins. Due to the intense demand for HBM memory production, DDR5 production had already decreased. In this environment, turning to DDR4 production doesn't look very attractive to manufacturers. Although the cost of DDR4 is lower than DDR5, it is not as profitable as HBM memory. Therefore, replenishing stocks is becoming difficult. Similar situations apply to DDR3 and older RAM types. However, for these generations, the main problem is the difficulty of finding products in stock rather than the price increase. And as a natural result of all these developments, scammers came out of the woodwork. 6. Fake products. Fake SSDs, RAM, and even GPUs have been on the market for a long time. However, since the demand for these components has increased significantly, the number of fake products has also started to rise. I actually mentioned this situation in my first video on this topic. You must be very careful when buying secondhand products and learn the necessary testing methods. If you're going to buy a brand new product, pay special attention to choosing a reliable seller and platform. It looks like we will have to get used to this situation until the bubble bursts. These were the developments regarding this topic in the last 2 months. So what do you think awaits us in the future? Don't forget to share your opinions in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If not, feel free to dislike it. Stay mysterious until the next video. Take care, and bye.